Shane McCarthy, General President of AgForce Queensland, here at the Renewables Forum today to talk about coexistence with producers. I believe there's a lot of information that they still need. The producers still need to make themselves comfortable. The genuine fear factor, I suppose, is there of what happens in the long term. How do we get to that point? What happens if something goes wrong? Until some regulations are put and enforceable regulations are put into place, there is a lot of, I suppose you'd akin it to gold prospecting out there, just people coming out, tying up land with no intention of developing it, but wanting to sell that land on later if a renewable comes along. That's not what we need in the industry. There needs to be some legislation and regulation that's put down so that there is a process that the renewable guys have to go through. And that's involving the communities early on. That's involving the local government early on, as well as involving the producers, because the whole community has to deal with these, renewable projects. Well, these guys are on the properties, and they've been on the properties for generations, a lot of them, and they want to be on the properties. They want to hand it down to the sons, to hand on to the grandsons or the granddaughters, and so on. So they're there for the long run. They're worried about somebody coming in and, what happens if things go pear-shaped, and if I'm left with this construction, what do I have to do? It's the what ifs, the long term or what if. So it's after 20 years, because they will still be there after 20 years. The renewable project may not be. What's the process? What do I have to do? What are the long-term costs that I have to go through if I have to decommission it? If as the landholder, I have to get rid of the infrastructure. If the company goes broke, if something along those lines, there needs to be long-term guarantees of, they won't be left with the baby. Well, we're facing exactly the same issues up in Hughenden. There's copper strings going through there. So therefore there's big wind farm projects coming there. And of course, like every other region, we've got the best wind in Australia. So every renewable wants to come there. And what we want is we want to be able to involve the community, show them who's coming and what they're bringing. And we want long-term outcomes. We want to be able to community benefit funds. So we don't want to break down communities, and this is statewide. We do not want to break down communities into have and have-nots. So there needs to be some way to bring those communities that they all benefit at some stage.